Drawing a demand curve has been nightmares to so many economic students. Welcome to my channel. I am called Mr. Mufo, the economist, and today I'm going to be showing you the tactics on how to draw a demand curve. So a demand curve is a graphical representation of the different prices and quantities that a customer is willing and able to buy at a particular price and a particular time. So this definition is gotten from the demand schedule, which we are not going to see in this course or in today's lesson. A demand schedule simply refers to the tabular representation of the different prices and quantities that the customer is willing and able to buy at a particular price and at a particular time. So we go ahead. A demand curve, just like every other curve, has two axes. That's to say the y and the x axis with the origin. So on the y-axis, now the problem is when drawing a demand curve, we sometimes make errors on where to put the price and the quantities demanded. So the price is always allocated or located on the y-axis. So on this area we have price, and on the x-axis we have quantity demanded. So the price, franc CFA, price and quantities demanded. That is good. We have the price on the y-axis and the quantity demanded on the x-axis. If you interchange it, it's going to give you something else. Of course, not a demand curve. It's simple, right? So we move ahead now to draw the demand curve. A demand curve slopes downward from left to right. From left to right. Now, this downward shape is explained by the fact that there exists an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. The fact that there exists an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. That's to say, as price increases, quantity demand drops. And as price drops, quantity demand increases. Let's say, for example, we have a price of, let's say 10 francs CFA. And at this 10 francs CFA, people used to buy 4 quantities, let's say of beans, of whatever they used to buy in the market. And for example, price now increases from 10 francs to 20 francs. What will happen? You realize that quantity demand will drop. When it touches the demand curve, it drops down to 2 quantities. Consumers are simply responding to what we call the first law of demand and supply. And what does that law state? It states that at higher prices, less quantities are demanded in the market. But at lower prices, more quantities are demanded in the market. So this is a diagram that shows the shape of a normal demand curve. That shows that an increase in price will lead to less being demanded, explained by the inverse relationship that exists between price and quantity demanded, which is gotten from the first law of demand and supply, which I repeat, it states that at lower prices, more quantities are being demanded, but at higher prices, less quantities are being demanded. So with that in your mind, you will be able to come up with a normal demand curve, which is very, very simple, right? So today we are looking on how to draw a normal demand curve or a demand curve which is normal and slopes downward from left to right. Thank you very much for watching. In our next videos, we'll be looking on how to come up with an abnormal demand curve and what causes it. Today we have been looking on how to draw a demand curve. Thank you for watching. I've been the economist.